but the other characters on the stage, the other characters on the stage have no means to know what the soliloquy is about and the thoughts revealed in the soliloquy. They still remain unknown for the other characters on the stage, but they are revealed to the readers and the audience, the spectators. By this communicating to the audience or the readers the secret working of a character's mind, the dramatist throws additional light on the mental makeup of that character. Mental makeup, mental constitution, البنية العقلية. Also the mental progress or deterioration, or the mental progress or deterioration, أو تطور المرحلة الصحية العقلية أو تدهورها, if there is any. A soliloquy is thus a means of character revelation, الكشف عن الشخصية. Besides, this is one function, unfolding the inner life of the speaker. This is one function. A soliloquy may also throw some light on another character by disclosing to us what the speaker thinks of that other character or those other characters. For example, in any soliloquy, Hamlet was thinking about, in some soliloquies, was thinking about King Claudius, and he discussed profusely his sins, Claudius' crimes, how he believes, how he thinks about Claudius, how he thinks about his mother Gertrude, his feelings about both, what he is planning in order to make them confess their crimes if they had committed any. This is what is meant by revealing the character and the characters on the stage. A soliloquy may therefore furthermore contribute to the development of the plot. صحيح؟ كمان هي عنصر آخر تساهم في تطور يعني أحداث المسرحية لا وتطورها لا يحدث إلا من خلال السولوكوي. يعني لو شلنا السولوكوي, some events of the play do not show up. Something becomes there, there is a gap. تمام? A soliloquy contribute to the development of the plot by acquainting us with what the speaker proposes to do, what he intends to do or decides to do. There are a number of soliloquies in Hamlet. ناخدهم واحدة واحدة. The first soliloquy. The first soliloquy of Hamlet occurs in Act 1, Scene 2, lines 129 to 159. It took place after the king and the queen had urged Hamlet in the open court to cast off the deep melancholy, to dismiss, cast off the deep melancholy which as they think has taken possession of him, which has taken hold of him, which dominated his mind as a consequence of his father's death. In this soliloquy, Hamlet reveals the grief that has been gnawing. Gnawing means plaguing, يؤلم, paining, aching at his mind. Knowing, ديروا بالكم هذه الجاه, silent, knowing at his mind. He wishes that religion did not forbid suicide, so that he could kill himself and get rid of this grief. Hamlet feels disillusioned with the world, disappointed. Disillusioned means disappointed. How weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this word. Weary means, you have the translation here, dull, boring, drudging, tiring. Stale, tasteless. Unprofitable, unuseful, seem to me all the uses of this word. يا بنات من فضلكم لما تدخلوا الغرفة لازم تكونوا انتم بمفردكم ومش اطفالكم معاكم. مين؟ ايوه يلا يا رسول عماد. ايوه رسول عماد كنت رافع ايدك. What is your question? Shall I proceed, everybody? Hamlet compares the world to an unweeded garden, a garden which is full of undesired weeds, أعشاب ضارة, in which rank and the gross things, rancing يعني فاسد, and the gross things grow in great abundance. He deplores the fact that his mother decries يعني يتألم ويأسف, the fact that his mother has married barely 2 months after the death of their first husband. To Hamlet, this is a very unacceptable crime. To Christians as well, it is an acceptable crime. And she has now married a man much inferior to the husband she has lost. Very low, very much inferior to, أقل منه كثيرا, inferior to, superior to, عكس superior to. That his mother should have so soon forgotten the husband who used to dote upon her and whom she also loved fondly. نرجع. That his mother should have so soon forgotten the husband. ليش هي نسيته بهذه السرعة؟ Her husband who used to dote upon her. Dote upon her means love her. النوع من dote on أو dote upon. تعني becomes infatuated with. مفتون بها. والnoun من dote هو dotage. And whom she has, this word recurs so much in Hamlet, in Shakespeare's language. And whom she also loved fondly. She loved him affectionately, a lot. Makes him believe that women are weak creatures. صحيح? He says in a famous soliloquy, frailty thy name is woman. To me, he is justified. I don't know to you, is he justified or not? Allah Tabash, is he justified for you? مبرر اللي زعلوا من أمه ولا مش مبرر؟ مش هم بيسمعوني؟ مالكوا جاوبوني. I want to explore your feelings. Do you support Hamlet in his hate of his mother?
Yes, Doctor.
He is justified.
Yes.
من justified مبرر. أي منات مبرر. يعني مش
يعني يفرز.
معاه حق إنه يزعل يعني.
Yeah, he was right. He was justified.
He feels that his mother is not faithful to his mother and for all.
Yeah, indeed, yes.
Because
She
when the
wasn't faithful.
mother is
Yes, يعني you know, thank you. يعني we, or the majority of my students, yes, believe that he was right. He was right. Hamlet considers this marriage, yes, yes, frailty, thy name is woman. A very famous line of poetry, he says, even a beast would have mourned for a longer time. حتى الوحش كان ممكن يلبس ملابس الحداد أو يرتدي الحداد فترة أطول من ذلك. Hamlet considers this marriage of his mother to his uncle to be an incestuous affair. Incestuous, adjective taken from incest. الانسست قلنا ويش؟ زنا المحارم. زنا المحارم. زواج المرأة الثاني عند المسيحيين هو لا يعدو كونه أكثر من أن يكون adultery. Let alone it becomes much more heinous if she marries her husband's brother. Yes, it becomes incest. This soliloquy shows the mediative nature of Hamlet, thoughtful nature, طبيعة التأملية, and prepares us for the prolonged delay in executing the command of the ghost for revenge. I don't believe so. وتجعلنا هاملت، وهذا يعدنا على أن نكون مستعدين للprocrastination والdelay of Hamlet in executing the command of taking revenge. This soliloquy, I don't believe so. Not every word is written here is true. I don't believe that in the first soliloquy there is something that prepares us for such a delay. This soliloquy also shows, yes. Who is raising her hand? Just yes. Give me your question. Yes, your question. Time. This soliloquy also shows some light, throws some light on the character of Hamlet. On the character of Hamlet's dead father. شخصية أبوه, لأنه he reveals to us the features, the characteristics of his father through his soliloquy, who was an excellent king and a loving husband. We wouldn't have known that Hamlet's father was an excellent king and a loving husband if we didn't have this soliloquy in the play. Hamlet's mother and his father, uncle, fall in our estimation as a result of this soliloquy. صحيح. We are made aware of the indecent taste of Hamlet's mother in getting remarried and her not observing the ritual of mourning, شعيرة وعدم تقيدها بشعيرة الحداد. عندنا في الإسلام الحداد كأنه 3 شهور كاملة أو أكثر حتى، يمكن 4. For a respectable period of time, this soliloquy also shows Hamlet's filial attachment to his dead father. وعلاقته البنوية والجميلة مع أبيه. He loved his father a lot. اللي رافع إيده ممكن يسأل. أنا في واحد رافع إيده شايف. مين عايز يسأل؟ وين عصوم؟ وين عصوم يا جماعة؟ وين عصوم؟ الشيء أبسط. عصوم. Oh, assume you are lazy today. Yes. Hamlet's reference to Hyperion, Niobe, and Hercules, figures of Greek history, show him to be well versed in classical literature. He knows a lot about classical literature. Well versed ملم. رسل عماد. أيوة يا رسل. أنا مش عامل لك كتم، أنا عامل كتم لرسل للنجار. ما تعملش كتم لحد. أنا مش عامل كتم. يا أسماء يا أسوم، المشكلة عندك مش عندي يا أسوم. شيل زر الكتم يا أسوم. الكتم للجميع من عندي. هاي عندي ملاحظة الآن. يساوي كتم للكل، وأنا كمان حتى لا طبش.
تو يا دكتور، تو لسه إجا.
مين تأسوم؟ لا يا عم احنا ما عملناش ولا حاجة يا أسوم، أنت اللي والله يا أسوم أنت مشكلتك مشكلة. طيب. Well versed ملم knowledgeable conversant. In this soliloquy we also see Hamlet's tendency to generalize. هذا التندسي ممكن يكون موجود. رغبته في التعميم. يعني من حادثة واحد التعميم يسموه his tendency مش to generalize to over generalize. ما حكينا نحط كلمة over generalize بداش generalize. فرق التعميم النسوان والمتسرعين والنسوان تحديدا يعممون من حالة واحدة. هاني أنا خلصت السلوكي يا رسل عماد، خلصت the first one. الآن عندنا بالفيرست.
مش عارفة أنت.
نعم. طب هو عندكم الماتيريال ولا لا؟ الآن هيني ها حد شو لقيت؟ هيني هاملت سكند سولوكوي. أيوه أيوه مين أنت يا مقيد؟ أنت يا مقيد مين؟ طيب بس هاملت سكند. يس هاي حد علم. مين علم؟ يس this one. طب شيل العلامة. طيب شيلوا العلامة يا بنات خلاص هيها. طيب Hamlet's second soliloquy in Act 1 Scene 4 line 95 to 112 comes just after the ghost leaves Hamlet. Having charged him with the duty to take revenge, the duty of taking revenge في غلط في الجرامر upon the murderer of his father. أعيد بقرأ لأنه سطرين فيهم غلط في الجرامر. Hamlet's second soliloquy comes just after the ghost leaves Hamlet, having charged him with the duty of taking revenge upon the murderer of his father. Hamlet has طبعا مين يقول لي هذه الجملة يا بنات؟ Hamlet second soliloquy كذا comes كذا after the ghost leaves Hamlet. طيب having charged him with the duty to take revenge أو taking revenge upon the murderer of his father. هذه phrase having charged him. هذه phrase Hamlet has been stunned by the revelation and echoes that ghost's words asking him to remember it. The words the ghost keeps repeating and wanted Hamlet to never forget. Namely, the ghost's desire to sharpen Hamlet's motive to take revenge. Hamlet decides to wipe out everything else from his memory, to evacuate his memory, and to preserve one thing in his memory, the ghost's commandment. Commandment means order. The manner in which Hamlet here speaks of never permitting himself to forget the ghost's words makes us think that Hamlet will soon plunge into action and carry out the behest of the ghost. Behest, another word for commandment. أمر برضه أمر. خلينا نعتقد إنه الزلمة خلاص هيتصرف ready. But unfortunately, he couldn't act. But we are much deceived in thinking so. Hamlet now refers to his mother as a most pernicious woman, most wicked woman, pernicious, wicked, and to his uncle as a villain, another word for wicked, mal'oon, a smiling damned villain. We see Hamlet's tendency to generalization when he says that one may smile and be a villain. التعميم هنا من حالة واحدة، يعني هو عمم من لما يظهر على عمه عمموا على جميع أنحاء البشرية. وأنا درستهم رايتنج قلنا لهم هذه إيش؟ a hasty generalization. اللي درسوا معي رايتنج 2 في ال قلنا اللوجيكال fallacies اللي هو generalizing from one example. The third soliloquy, Hamlet's third soliloquy, Act 2, Scene 2, lines 523 to 581, occurs after he has had a talk with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern and with the players, his childhood friends, whom the king hired in order to make them pull Hamlet's leg into disclosing his inner feelings. Yes, up here, up, Abdullah. Yes, no, enough. And with the players in this soliloquy, Hamlet bitterly scolds, bitterly بمرارة ديروا بالكم بمرارة, hotly scolds himself for his continuing failure to execute his revenge. Execute, ينفذ. The players shedding tears while reciting a speech descriptive of Hecuba's grief over the death of her husband stings Hamlet to the quick and makes him scold himself for his inaction. Stings Hamlet to the quick, to the heart, and sticks Hamlet in the heart. The quick here is a noun, means heart. The player shedding tears, you remember when the player shed tears when they enacted a dramatic performance of Hecuba's grief on the death of their husband. The actors were so affected by the scene, they are acting to the extent that they shed tears. This scene impressed Hamlet a lot and made Hamlet blame himself for his lack of courage, his lack of vigor, his lack of desire or ability to inflict his vengeance on the one who killed his father. Yakuba is nothing to the player, and yet the player wept over her fate. كيف؟ ممثل صيّ على يكوبا suffering رغم أنه يكوبا is not one of his relatives. ليست من أحد أقاربه. What would the player do? This is what Hamlet is saying, ديروا بالكم. Not the critic. These are the words of Hamlet. What would the player do? What would the player do if he had the motive or passion which Hamlet has? Yes. The play Hamlet's place. نزليها شوي. نزليها شوي. لا شفتش عندي. بس أيوه. The player in Hamlet's place, لو كان Hamlet البلاير في موقف Hamlet would drown the stage with tears. لكان أغرق المسرح خشبة المسرح بالدموع. And make mad the guilty and apple the free. And make the guilty mad. And apple means frighten. And frighten those who have free conscience. اللي ضمائرهم ليس بها ما يقلقها. شوف التمثيل كان فعالا جدا لدرجة انه حيجنن يصيب بالجنون المذنب ويخيف جدا الذي لا ذنب له. Hamlet regards himself as a dull and muddy-mettled rascal. نافع هامل. Dull يعني unable to act. Who has so far done nothing to avenge the murder of his father. He feels ashamed of being a coward. صحيح. To some extent he's a coward who can only unpack his heart with words and fall a cursing like a very drab. He feels ashamed being a coward because of being a coward. Ashamed of بده يجي وراها الفعل اللي بده يكون في gerund. Ashamed of لأنه preposition. Being a coward who can only unpack his heart. بفرغ ما في داخله باستخدام الكلمات بس. Fall cursing like a very drab. And he is like a prostitute. He vents his prostitute harlot, a bad woman يعني. يلوم نفسه وكأنه بيحكي عن حاله إيه امرأة رذيلة. He vents his anger يفرغ غضبه upon his uncle by referring to him as a bloody bawdy villain. bloody دموي bawdy سيء الأخلاق. bawdy villain فاحش bawdy villain. remorseless لا تؤلمه وخزات الضمير. treacherous خؤون. lecherous lustful بيجي وراء نزواتي. kindness villain. kindness لا عاطفة له. عكس kind. He then dwells upon his plan, dwells and thinks upon his plan to stage a play by means of which he would be able to make sure whether or not his uncle is a murderer. The play is the thing. The play is the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king. These are Hamlet's words. By having actors playing a dramatic performance, he will be able to catch the conscience of the king. يمسك ضمير يعني يطلع على hidden feelings of the king. Conscious الضمير. This soliloquy clearly reveals Hamlet's incapacity for any vigorous kind of action, especially for any predetermined a bloody deed, premeditated. This is the problem of Hamlet. He is incapable of doing a thing premeditated. فكر فيه مسبقا وخطط له ولا يستطيع ذلك because his imagination is harmful for him, deprives him of action, bars him from action. خياله الواسع يمنعه من التصرف, bars him from action. It is hard to believe that Hamlet couldn't have found an opportunity for killing the king. I don't believe this is true. Up till now, Hamlet is justified for me. If you want to say he is not justified, you need to cite evidence. Yeah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم تر إلى الذين أوتوا نصيبا من الكتاب يدعون إلى كتاب الله
تمام طب خلاص لا بديت انا يا هلينا زايد انا بادي كمان خلاص سامعين يا بنات سامعيني الان سامعينك ماشي كويس if it were for a lack of opportunity لو كان الأمر متعلق بعدم وجود فرصة لقتل الملك that he hasn't acted so far هي اللي منعته أن لا يتصرف حتى الآن we would have mentioned the fact that in this soliloquy the king, if it were for a lack of opportunity that he hasn't acted so far, he would have mentioned the fact in this soliloquy. This is a line against the above cited one. That means Hamlet's question is, Hamlet's problem is not in lack of opportunity to kill Claudius. If it was a matter of lack of opportunity, he would have said this in his soliloquy. It is clear to us, as it is to him, that what has prevented him from doing anything is a natural want. Want means defect. عيب طبيعي خلقي, want, or a natural deficiency. It is this natural want that makes him ask, am I a coward? He wants to know, am I a coward? This is a very significant question indeed. He realizes that it is his own lack of goal to make oppression better. It is lack of courage that has stood in the way of his executing the command of the ghost. If he hadn't been lacking in goal, he should have fatted all region kites with this slaves offer. If he wasn't coward enough, he would have fattened all the region kites, all the region vultures, طيور الجارحة من كرشة Claudius. That is, feed the kites with the flesh of the king. Hamlet condemns himself in round terms, in clear terms, for his inaction and for merely indulging in the words and curses. بس يتكلم ويسب ويلعن. Like a whore, like a prostitute. زي الله يعزكم المرأة الفاسدة. بيشبه حاله مع المرأة السيئة. This soliloquy makes it clear that we as we are dealing with a philosopher and not with a man of action. He now seeks a confirmation of the ghost's charge against Claudius. This is a rather strange because it has taken him that long to doubt the authenticity of the ghost's charge. I don't believe this is true. This is not true. No one acts to kill a king on the charges delivered by a ghost. No one does this. His entertaining a doubt regarding the truthfulness of the ghost so long after the revelation was made by the ghost seems the revelation made the ghost seems merely a pretext for a further postponement. بيجعل هذا حجة حملة بيقولوا إنه حجة باطنية عشان يؤجل عملية الانتقام. Postponement, delay, procrastination, putting things off. I don't believe so. مش كل الكلام أنا أؤمن به، إنما أقول هذا ما يقوله النقاد كلهم مجمعين بنلم إحنا المسألة السلوكية من رأي النقاد. لكن if you want to adopt another totally different point of view, I'll accept it as long as you back it up with reasons. It now occurs to him that the ghost which he has seen might have been the devil, who appeared, yes, the devil, who appeared to him in the shape of his father and who wishes to exploit his weakness and melancholy. The players have come to Elsinore just by chance. He did not plan it. This is quite significant. He did not plan it. He did not scheme it. But they came by chance. We naturally ask what Hamlet would have done if the players hadn't come and thus provided him with the opportunity of seeking a confirmation of the ghost's charge. This is acceptable. This accusation is acceptable. His fourth soliloquy. Hamlet's fourth soliloquy, Act 3, Scene 1, lines 56 up till 88. في بعضكم بيسأل سمعتكم امتى هناخد في المسرحية؟ سننتهي من المسرحية من أول act لآخر act. Don't lose sight of this fact. The whole play is required. You are required to read the whole play from cover to cover, and you will get tested in the whole play. شو غدا Act 1 C3؟ ما هو Act 1 C3؟ ماذا يا أستاذ؟
لا هو يا دكتور ما فيش فيه معلومات، يعني هو نفس تقريبا بنبنى على الكلام اللي قبل.
ما فهمتش برضه، بس فهميني.
لما احنا وصلنا
احنا الآن في الجامعة خلصنا، هدخل بكرة يمكن أو بعده على Act 4.
طب دكتور لو
على Act 4. اسألي.
طيب الحين أنا حضرت اللي على اليوتيوب وحضرت اللي على الزوم لكن في شغلات بتختلف. يعني مثلا أنت بتشرح إشي على الزوم ومش عارف إذا مثلا التكملة بتشرحها على اليوتيوب أو إشي، المهم مش نفسه 100%، يعني نلاقي اختلاف عن جد.
والله ما أنا عارف شو هو يعني الاختلاف. أنا في الجامعة إذا بشرحه بحلل النص وبكتب معانيه وبحلله وبشرحه وبعلقش عليه إلا قليل. بعلق عليه لما بقول كذا وكذا وكذا لكن قليل.
طب إيش
نعم.
التحليل هذا مطلوب منه، يعني مثلا كيف بيجينا السؤال مثلا معاني الكلمات هذه أو شو المقصود
فيها؟ لا بيجيك كوتيشن بقول لك علقي.
أيوة
بيجيك كوتيشن بقول لك علقي. أما ما أقوله في المحاضرة هو
السؤال اللي
خلاص. هي السؤال يعني I have answered.
تقريبا.
Yes, have I answered your question?
Yes, you answered.
Yes, good. Don't deceive yourselves. هيجي quotation ويقول لك comment on. طبعا أنا I select significant parts of the play and I comment on them. I read them thoroughly. I read the meaning of the new words or difficult words. I discuss things. I speak through hints. صحيح. I don't speak profusely about literary criticism. Here at home, when I deliver my lecture from my home, I give you critical analysis of the whole play. Is still there a contradiction between both? لا زال هناك تناقض عندكم؟
طب دكتور لو سمحت، الحين لما انت تحكي لي بدي اعمل انا كومنت على هذه الكوتيشن، مثلا ححكي مين اللي حكاها ولا مين حكاها.
طبيعي. ايش بتدل وايش بتقولوا، كيف تكشف الشخصيه والثيم.
يعني احكي انا ايش فهمت في كل شيء.
ايوه
تمام.
مين بيحكي معي؟ لا طباش. طيب ماشي، خلاص اكمل.
تفضل.
تنسوش انه الاسئله المقاليه اللي بحطها لكم انا هذه جزء اصيل من الماده، وما تستعجبوش اني اجيب لكم سؤال مقالي speak او write 2 or 3 pages on Hamlet soliloquy. تعرفوش هذه الماده اللي انا حطيتكم اياها عشان in order for you to get tested in، مش عشان نتسلى. انا بتسلاش. I am not amusing you.
ان شاء الله خير يا دكتور.
واضح يا بابا انا؟
تمام يا دكتور. مش عارفه وين البنات. صح كلامك واضح. الله يخليك.
بارك الله فيك. Hamlet's fourth soliloquy is the most famous and the most celebrated. Why? Because it is the most philosophical of all. اللي تبدأ to be or not to be, that's the question. In this soliloquy we have a mental debate, مناقشة عقلية. Hamlet finds himself on the horns of a dilemma. dilemma معضلة. وجد حاله في وسط معضلة. horns معناتها قرون. لكن هذه قرون المعضلة يعني معضلة. To be or not to be, that is the question. This is the most famous line of poetry ever written. لم يكتب بيت أشهر من هذا. He asks which of the two alternatives is nobler, whether silently to suffer the cruelties of fate or to put up a fight against the misfortunes of life. أن نصبر بصمت أو أن نقاوم misfortunes of life. أي البديلين أفضل؟ أمران أحلى كلاهما مر. أحلاهما مر. قال أصيحاب الفرار أو الردى. قلت أمران خير كلاهما مر. It would be better perhaps. It would be better perhaps. To commit suicide. This is one of the alternatives. If death were to... شوفوا أنا علقت هذا عليه أنا profusely in my lectures. If death were to mean a kind of total sleep, this is the mediative nature of Hamlet. He starts by likening death to sleep. With the progress of the discussion, he discovers that these are two different things, totally different things. Death differs a lot from sleep. If death were to mean a kind of total sleep and total unconsciousness, يا الله الاختبار الثاني حيكون داخل أسوار الجامعة بإذن الله تعالى، وجزء منه صح وغلط وجزء منه مقالي. كم مرة بدي أعيد نفسي عاد أنا. I repeated myself regarding this point several times. But the reason that prevents a man from committing suicide is that he doesn't know what is in the store for him after death. وهذا ما يخيفنا كلنا. لا نعرف ماذا يحدث بعد الموت. طبعا احنا كمسلمين نعرف ماذا يحدث بعد الموت. لكن for pagan يعني الذين لا يؤمنون بالله البيجنز لا يعرفون ماذا سيحدث. Yes, and yes. If the fear, it is fear of what may happen to us after death that makes us endure the ills and injustices of life. And it is for this reason that a man's resolution, تصميمه, عزمه, or power of determination is weakened, and a man finds himself unable to execute great enterprises. Why? Because the execution of such enterprise, execution تنفيذ, enterprises, adventures, or tasks may mean death and all that one has to face after death. This soliloquy, moreover, more than any other, reveals the face after death. It reveals the speculative temperament nature of Hamlet. His irresolute and wavering mind, وعقله غير الحاسم وعقله المتردد. wavering متردد متأجل، وirresolute لا يعني ليس مصرا على شيء، يعني غير حاسم. And his incapacity for any premeditated action of a momentous nature، وعدم قدرته على تنفيذ أي عمل ذو طبيعة كبيرة consequential nature، له أهمية كبيرة. عدم قدرته على تنفيذ أي عمل له أهمية كبيرة يخطط له أو مخطط له. بمجرد ما بخطط ببدأ يخاف. كثير من الناس قالوا إنه he is imaginative and his imagination destroys his personality. This soliloquy again shows Hamlet's generalizing habit of thought. عادته في التفكير في إفراط في التعميم. The lines in which he gives a catalogue of the misfortunes of life are a neat summing up of the painful features of human existence: the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, etc. All these are the misfortunes, the hardships, the indignities a human being face here. The عديناهم كتار. Hamlet is speaking for all human beings. يعني here Hamlet is a mouth speaker for all human beings. يعبر عن مشاعر بني البشر كلهم. There are occasions in every man's life when he feels a strong desire to put an end to his life, but is prevented from doing so by several considerations تعطله اعتبارات كثيرة, including those significantly where يا خالد خلاص ليش سطلت مش عارف اركز. نزل شوية نزل يا عبد الله شوي. طيب ماشي ما تولد. طيب يس وصلت بتحرك بدون ما تشاور خلاص. طيب Yeah. Including those specifically mentioned by Hamlet. الأسباب اللي إيش Hamlet ذكرها اللي فوق proud man's contumely, despised love, pangs of despised loves, كمان مذكورات فوق the lose delay. The dramatic purpose of this soliloquy is partly to explain Hamlet's delay in carrying out his purpose and to show at the same time the mental torture, الألم النفسي that Hamlet has been undergoing because of his failure to have carried out that purpose. The fifth soliloquy. خامسة. خامسة. ارفع أيوه. هنخلص الخامسة وبكرة بنكمل الباقي. Hamlet's fifth soliloquy in Act 3, Scene 2, lines 300. ماله؟ خلاص بس تقف خلاص. Hamlet's fifth soliloquy occurs when he is about to go to his mother's chamber. Chamber means room. Is about to على وشك أن يذهب إلى غرفة أمه in response to her summons. استدعاء آتية, calls for him. Hamlet is at this moment in a mood in which he could drink hot blood, يعني متغير, ممكن يشرب دم ساخن, and do much better business as the day would quake to look on. يعني he is ready to act. He is different from his previous state. In this mood, he could even kill his mother, but he wouldn't like to follow the Nero's example by doing so. Let me be cruel, not unnatural. I want to be cruel, but I don't want to be unnatural. He therefore decides to speak daggers to his mother, to speak like daggers, but use none. There is nothing remarkable in Hamlet's decision here, because a man whom by now we know to be incapable of killing the murderer of his father wouldn't go to the length of killing his mother. He therefore decides to speak daggers to his mother, but use none. There is nothing remarkable in Hamlet's decision here, because a man whom by now we know to be incapable of killing the murderer of his father wouldn't go to the length of killing his mother. يعني من عجز عن قاتل أبيه لن يقتل أمه, because she has done nothing to deserve its part from remarrying, apart from remarrying too soon. ليست جريمتها أكثر من أن تزوجت بسرعة أكبر. In fact, it is strange that such a thought, killing يعني Hamlet's mother, should at all arise in his mind. It does him no credit to think such a thought, because although he has sufficient reason to hate and detest her, he has no reason to kill her.